At the end of the day, selling is transferring a feeling. If you don't have the feeling, you can't transfer it. If you don't have a good, positive feeling, dude, you're an actor. You have to sell and run your business from a place of positivity. And however you get there, God bless you. Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 177. And today, I am the guest, and Chris Stone will be giving me the questions, my producer. Before we get started with that, thank you guys for everyone that's bought the book, Sell a Million, 101 Tips for Furniture and Mattress Store Owners to Sell Another $1 million or more this year. Couldn't be a more timely book right now. People complaining about slow traffic. This will help you get more traffic, and it'll also help you maximize each and every sale. If you make the investment, I think it's still like $15, like $14.95 or something. Call me, 419-560-3169, and I'll help you implement anything in the book. So without a further ado, let me thank my friends Steve and Greg at the Mattress Industry Network group. Thank you guys for supporting our show, and thanks for being a sponsor. If you guys are on Facebook, if you're watching this and you're on Facebook and you are not in the Mattress Industry group, what are you waiting for? If you want to learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in the mattress industry, this is the place. A group created by retailers for retailers in the entire industry. So join up. I think it's over 2,600 strong right now. I think we might be knocking on 3,000. So join today, and I will see you inside the group. Without a further ado, Chris, welcome to the show. You are not only producing like you do every week, but you are hosting. So good luck.
We all know that who's going to talk more on this episode. This isn't Ask Chris. This is Ask Pete. So I'm gonna lob some softballs, to you in the spirit of me going and watching a baseball game tonight here in Atlanta, watching my Tigers hopefully beat the Braves. I'm gonna lob you some ethos pitches.
What you got, Chris? What you got?
Are we ready? Let's first and foremost, because we've got viewers that are coming in from all over. So these are questions that have come in, and so people have emailed them in. But if you are a live viewer and you're watching on YouTube and you're watching on Facebook and you're watching on LinkedIn and you're enjoying the show and you have a question, you take precedent. So we have eyeballs here on the chat. We'll bring in your questions related to the mattress industry, related to Pete's cats, whatever you want to ask. I think it's an open game. It's a free for all, as we like to say, right, Pete? I mean, most questions are going to be answered, but there are some that we probably aren't appropriate for Ask Pete. But this show is also available as an audio podcast, right? So this is, if you don't catch this live and you can't ask questions and you're listening, every once in a while Pete will just start referring to people's questions live as he has guests. And so lots of people, they like to be able to ask questions, but they may not be able to catch every Monday at noon because they're busy, taking care of customers or doing whatever they have to do. So this is a great opportunity for you to email your questions to Pete Primeau, and that's spelled Primeau at ameritech.net. And so, as Pete would say, without further ado, we are going to get into the Ask Pete questions. And the first question here is from Interested in California, and Interested says, Pete, I couldn't go to Scott Vaughn's event in Paducah, Kentucky. It seems everyone enjoyed it. I've also seen several comments from you about how great the event was. Nothing is perfect. Please tell me 2 things you would have changed. Okay, Interested. Also, is there anything you would do differently as an attendee?
Oh, Wow,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Um, so Chris, can you work your magic and post this in Mattress Industry Network group? I forgot to do that this morning.
Sure. Yep. We can do that.
So two pieces to this. So I take it from the tone of your email, interested in California, that you do not want me to go on and on about how great it was. So I'm not going to do that, even though it was. Um, I'm going to tell you part of a question you didn't ask me. I walked away with this: winning strategies for success. Walked away with a notebook full of ideas. And I think that was a great idea that Scott had. So the two things I would change, I thought the seats were a little close, and that's a function of he got more attendees than he thought he was going to get, which is great. A high class problem. I've had it before, and it's a high class problem. I think he'll know to get a little bit bigger of an area. And then the only other thing, I wish there was more downtime together so I could get to know everybody. There were several people there that I did not get a chance to really hear as much from them as I would have liked. And that almost like dovetails into your last question as as an attendee, what would I change? So here's my situation that I had to deal with. My girls are in California, and my cats can't be, I can't be away from them for more than a couple days. So I came in late on Monday. I was there all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday, and then I drove home Wednesday. So I missed the dinner on Wednesday, which whenever you have an industry event and you're invited to a dinner, whether you're a rep or whether you're a store owner, always go to those. And no matter how tired you are, I'm going to tell you that life works very weirdly sometimes.
Mm.
Sometimes you end up at a dinner meeting somebody who changes your business life and you didn't even know. Uh, Joe Clay, I love you. You have such a great sense of humor. Pete wouldn't sit by Jerry LeCompte next time. So we were like, well, I was like a little schoolgirl, and I'm writing notes to Jerry. Like, I would add blah, blah, blah. I would, and I'm like giving the, like, I'm writing them down on my thing, but I'm shoving them over so he sees them and he's copying them down. And, Jerry is such a gentleman and
Mm.
sweet. He was always very appreciative and thankful for my notes. So maybe I went past notes. I shouldn't have, but I was. I got to tell you something about the event. We had real rock stars in there. I mean, we had some really, really smart store owners, and we had some really, really smart people. Greg Gent, Jeff Janakovo, Steve Hauk, they were all in the house, um, along with me. And um, it was just a great group of people. And, we had people in there that have been in business for over 40 years. And we had people in there that are just 6 months into the business and just started. And I was like so jealous what I would have given to been in a room like that with 400 years of experience. At 6 months into this thing, I would have made a lot less mistakes. I can tell you that. I would have made a lot less mistakes. So, to sum up, um, a little more interaction planned between. So that means more roundtables and rotating the roundtables so you're not in the same group. So I get to meet everybody. And that's partially on to me and goes to your last piece of your question. As an attendee, I, I would say this: if Jenny and Christiana were at home to take care of the cats, this is what I would have done. I would have gotten my workout in at like 5 in the morning. I would have left the house by 8. I would have been there by like 1 or 2. I would have had, lunch with whoever came in early. I would have, swam in the pool. I would have spent that entire rest of Monday. So I'm guessing, let me just do quick math. I would have gotten there about 4 or 5, maybe in the afternoon. It's a 9-hour drive. Maybe I'm doing my math wrong. But the earlier I could have gotten there, the better. And I would have used it all for networking, all for meeting new people, because we don't know where this ball is going. I mean, everybody likes to ask everyone's opinion. And what I've learned is I don't know what's going to happen next, even though I like to think I do, but I don't. And you might meet somebody that changes your business life forever. And so
Right.
I spent more time networking. I definitely would not have missed that dinner on Wednesday night. I felt like a hole in my heart and in my soul that I wasn't there. I really felt like I kind of quit on the team. And then the next day, I would have spent the entire day at the store, because I do a lot of business with Happy Z's. They are my number one Dream Fit customer. They will soon be my number one BIA customer. And they are definitely my number one out of 7 states, my number one bed tech customer. They buy bed tech in containers. They are just phenomenal people. Like, I was telling Ray Iyer at Harrison's, I said, the hardest thing in the world for me was when we wrapped up a little bit early on Wednesday. I drove over to the store and I knew I had to leave right away. And it drove me insane because I didn't want to leave. So I would have spent more time at the event, more time networking, more time meeting like that guy, Vernon, so smart. And I didn't spend any time with him. And I would have loved to have had lunch or dinner with him and learn. And there are a lot of Chris Nelson from Chamberlain Furniture. I didn't even get a chance to shake the guy's hand. And just wonderful people that I didn't spend enough time with. That was my biggest regret. How's that? We'll wrap that up.
Look at this guy. Pete, you look like you're confused here. You're like, what am I doing here with all these incredible executives around me? No, I'm kidding.
That is right after Scott Vaughn embarrassed me and said Pete Primeau is the only person in this room who doesn't belong here.
Oh.
And I'm like, is this good or bad? And then he goes on to say, I wish I knew half of what he knows, which was a very, 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 very sweet compliment, but one that I surely, Scott's being overly gracious there. So
we've got some people that are chiming in. We just want to say hello. Obviously, Stu, friend of the show, says mistakes are what molded you into the primo guy you are today.
I see what you're doing there, Stu. I like that.
Yeah.
Stu,
let us know if you've got anything that you wanna ask. We
missed you, Stu. I mean, like, dude, it was incomplete without you. I mean, you would have fit right in there, dude. It would have been so good to have had you there, but you'll be at the next one.
And another friend of the show, Marnie, is chiming in saying that she's looking forward to the day that I break free to attend these amazing events.
Yeah, I understand your situation, Marnie. And, as you're building your business, you're going to be able to hire people and you're going to be able to train them and get them up to a level where you don't have to be there all the time. And that's when you'll have the flexibility to come to a great event like this. But in the meantime, Scott is probably, him and Jeff, probably the biggest givers in our industry. They give of their time, they give of their knowledge. constantly. Um, very, very touching to me that Scott belongs in Jeff's group, and Jeff does a lot of things with Scott. And to see those two collaborating and supporting each other. And I know that there are multiple people that are in both groups and are benefiting from what Jeff's doing with his MRT, and benefiting from from Scott squared. Uh, I absolutely will I will aim to make the next one. You know, Stu, that is the voice of experience and right there. That is always give yourself a little bit of a nut, because we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, it was a great event. So sorry, I
Yeah,
know.
speaking of Janakovo, here he is. And is that I can tell by the face, is that Randy Thompson?
Yeah,
right here? Okay.
Randy Thompson, the adjustable bed guru, was there as well.
Nice. Wow.
And
Some
the guy
legends in
next
the
to him,
house.
Justin, he showed us how he sells adjustable beds. And I'll tell you what, that guy's sharp. He's very good.
Nice.
Very good. And that's Greg Gent standing up. And that's one of my regrets. That young lady from Alabama was so smart. I don't even know her name, and I didn't get a chance to meet her. And that's Angie Thompson right next to her, who is on our Win the Weekend with Pete and Friends on Fridays. And that's Ted Thompson's massive muscular arm next to her, Angie's husband, who's a great guy. And I got a little, there's another guy I would have loved to have had dinner with him and really kind of picked his brains and just kicked it around, you know?
This is where Stu says Greg Gent was reading Dr. Seuss. Green eggs and ham.
Stu.
Nice.
He was. How did you know that?
Well, I mean, there's incredible lessons from Dr. Seuss books, right? So why not? Why
You
not?
bet. You bet.
All right. So did we cover like what wasn't perfect? So it really was for you, like not leaving. Was how you would have that's what you would have changed, is to maybe plan to maximize your time a little more at the event. Was that a safe summary of what you'd have changed?
No, that was what I would do differently as an attendee. I would have come early and I would have left late, and I would have spent more time networking. The two things I would have changed is I would have had a little bigger of a room, and I would have had more space in between people. But that was because a lot of people came in at the last minute and he had already booked the room. So I understand that. It's happened to me.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would have changed is more opportunity for interaction. But, and I say that, but I thought that the amount of content was all on the verge of being overwhelming. It really was. It was great. It was to the point. It was accurate. And I got to say something. The most significant thing of that whole event was seeing the love between Scott and between Superstar, aka Nicole, his store manager, and Jacob, the assistant manager. The connection that he has with those people and how they idolize him. Just seeing that, feeling that was worth the price of admission. It really was. So sorry.
No, he's one of those. He's one of the good ones. Obviously, I mean, genuine. You get that. From the few times I've met him and been on the show, you could just see he has, and you see it from, you even see it from his ads, right, Pete? And you look at his Facebook page, you look at the YouTube channel, you see the ads that Happy Z's are putting together. Like this is pretty incredible to see that he's really genuinely And the fact that he did this thing as, to give back as a part of this, and the amount of people that came out. This is pretty incredible for a lot of quote unquote legends. Even Ronald Reagan came out of the grave.
It's amazing. He had everybody there.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Are we ready for the next one?
So do you want to know why? That's funny. I am ready for the next one, I think, but all right. So to address all the texts I'm getting right now, why was Reagan there? Because he was an Heirloom customer, and Heirloom is probably their biggest line. So Heirloom is a brand of mattresses, and Ronald Reagan owned and slept on an Heirloom mattress. That's why he was there.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm ready now. Squirrel.
I was gonna squirrel myself because I have a Ronald Reagan moment, and I'm gonna pull this up really quickly on my Instagram. You might well, forget it. Forget it. I'm not doing that because it's not a still shot; it's a video. But anyway, I went on a trip to Chicago, and in this trip to Chicago, there was a microphone company called Shure. They make this microphone, and in their archives, they had Ronald Reagan's podium, because the podium had 2 Shure microphones built into it, and they were getting rid of it. The White House was getting rid of it, and they called Shure and they said, "Hey, do you want this podium?" And they were like, "Yes, we do." So I got to stand behind and use Ronald Reagan's podium. Had the presidential, emblem and everything on it. So it was
nice.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Next
Is it
question.
the same podium that he said, "There you go again, Helen"?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know.
I would pay for that. I thought that was the greatest moment in all presidential. I don't know, Stu. That is
Stu wants to know, what
question.
does Trump sleep on? Do you really want to know, Stu? I mean, I don't know. I mean, would that help or hurt sales? What do you think, Pete?
So, it depends. I would say there's a 50-50 shot on that, just by the sheer numbers. But yeah, it could go either way. Either people would run out and love it, or people would protest the poor factory. Yeah, it would be one way or the other. There was no in between on that one.
That's true.
It's a great question, Stu.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could probably Google it, but who knows what's true. All right, so here we go. This is a question from Losing Hope in Indiana. And Losing Hope says, "Hey, Pete, I'm having a tough time keeping my store going. Traffic is slow. Sales suck. Okay. I'm depressed, and my wife wants me to close the store. And I quote, get a real job. I just don't see any signs of hope. Please tell me, uncensored, what you are seeing. Also, what can I do to survive?"
Wow. All right. I'm going to try not to cry. So, Losing Hope in Indiana, business is off. Traffic is slow across the board. It's not slow at Happy Z's. It's not slow at about 6 to 10 other retailers that do everything right. So without me knowing more about your store, I can't begin to tell you what to do. I'm very concerned that your wife wants you to close it down. Sometimes our wives see things before we see them, and sometimes they're right. And so I just don't know enough to really give you a good answer. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I would say this. There will be some funny baloney numbers that come out next year that will say this year was bad, but it really wasn't that bad. Um, in some places, traffic is 30 to 40% off. In other places, it's only 20 to 25% off. Most stores are 10% down. There is business out there. So here's a few things across the board. These are the things that I see merchandising wise, and the merchandising is not going to save you. It's going to be advertising, but I'll get to that in just a second. Uh, Merchandise wise, what all the top guys, what I'm seeing is they have split head hybrids. So they look like a sleep number bed, split halfway down the middle. Actually, it's like a third down the middle. Um, See a lot of split head foam beds and split head hybrids on the guys that are winning. I'm also seeing two-sided on all those floors, and some of those floors they have a lot of two-sided mattresses. And one of the things that happens with two-sided mattresses, if you were at a mattress firm, your customer was at a mattress firm store, or they were at a pick your favorite department store, um, and the salesperson said, there's no such thing as two-sided beds anymore. And then you're showing them two-sided beds and they're kind of like, honey, I thought they didn't make two-sided beds. And so you gain credibility and you eliminate your competitors by having two-sided beds. If you want to have a bigger conversation on that, call me at 419-560-3169. Um, the last thing on actual merchandising, now is the time to lean into premium protectors, premium sheets, and premium pillows. Now is the time to yes, Stu. Thank you, Stu. I'm having a tough time with this, so thank you. And it's just me trying to control my emotions because my heart breaks when I see things like this. Premium products, keep the lights on. Stu, you're 100% right. So that is what you should be doing from a merchandising standpoint. But now let's talk about advertising. Forget about everything that you've ever done or not done. Go guerrilla. Signs, go out to breakfast at different places, hand out business cards, become hungry. I know you're hungry, but are you really? Does everybody know that you want them to come to your, I'm assuming it's a sleep shop. That's not even in there. I'm assuming it's a sleep shop, but it may not be. But whether it's a furniture store or a sleep shop, you have to be the number one fan of your store. You have to be aggressive. You have to go out into the community and tell this community that I want your business without spending any more money on display ads or the radio or the TV, which you may not even be able to afford. If your wife's telling you to close the store, it's probably because she doesn't want to see you throwing any more money away. So what are all the guerrilla things? What are the signs, sign holders? You can be the sign holder. Justin Trumbo, when he owned his sleep shop in Champaign, Illinois, he would have a sign and he would be outside. He didn't have any employees. So when somebody pulled in from the sign, he ran around the back and then he got himself ready to sell. And he was now the salesperson. And then when that customer left, he got his sign out. He ran back out to the front of the store, was waving it like a madman on the street, trying to get customers. That's the kind of hunger that it takes. That's the kind of 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 guerrilla warfare that we must engage in if we're going to win. If it's all going south, you've got to ask yourself, am I doing everything I can to win? And Justin now owns an incredible facility with millions and millions of dollars of adjustable beds in it, and has an incredible consultant practice, and is just an incredible human being who does a lot for a lot of people, because he was that guy with one sleep shop who was super hungry enough to be the sign guy, hungry enough to be the janitor, hungry enough to be the secretary, hungry enough to be the salesperson and the delivery person. So I am, oh, Stu, thank you. Stu Segura, signs, handshakes, BNI. BNI is a big one. Uh, Join networking groups. Chamber of Commerce is another big one. Lean into your Chamber of Commerce. Meet other business owners. And listen, I'm going to say this. You know, the reason for that 1:00 call that I have every Friday, when the weekends with Pete and friends, is for you to bring your problems to that Zoom call. And, we have anywhere from, 8 to 15 people on that call, and some of them are super sharp. Sometimes Jeff Janakovo's on that call. Sometimes uh, Scott Vaughn's on that call, and other guys. Stu's on the call. Stu's a fountain of great ideas. He's been where you are, and he has made improvements. He's improved his advertising game. He's improved his merchandising game. So I lean hard into make yourself known. If you're going to go out, make sure you go out in a blaze of glory with doing everything you humanly can, short of throwing money away with ads that don't work. And by the way, there are people that are starting to unlock the code with Facebook again, and they are in the Mattress Industry Network group, and they also make appearances on Win the Weekend with Pete. So use those as resources. You're not in this alone. Jeff Janakovo, how you doing, Jeff? Thank you for being here. Tough situation to be in. What Pete is saying right now is spot on. Call all your past customers. Oh, thank you, Jeff. I missed this. Call all your past customers and dial for dollars. Let them know what's new, what sale is on, and how they can refer. That was just a $20,000 coaching call that you got for free, buddy. So I hope in Indiana you listen to what Jeff just said. Call all your past customers, dial for dollars, let them know what's new, what sale is on, how they can refer business to you. Thank you, Jeff. That was outstanding.
It's a lot. It's something that we always forget, is to find out why other people have bought from you.
Yeah.
Right. It's like if you don't understand, like, then they've already bought from you. So there is already a level of trust. Find out why. And that sometimes can spark some ideas. And Pete, the other thing that we are mentioning, that we've got Jeff here on the screen, is this mattress retailer toolkit. Do you think that maybe losing hope in Indiana, that's that maybe is an option as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's $99 a month, and you're going to get tools that will make you thousands and thousands of dollars. Yes, join. As a matter of fact, I'm joining. I finally talked Jeff into letting me join. I've got a bunch of my retailers in there, and I need to join for the simple fact that I need to know what I need to be helping them implement. Yeah. MRT would be a wonderful tool for this store owner right now. Couldn't be more timely. I mean,
for those that are listening, it's mattressretailertoolkit.com, mattressretailertoolkit.com. And Jeff Janakovo's heading up that, and it looks like you've got a $7 test drive, $7 to test drive that thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, That's incredible that it's only $7 to get going on that thing.
Oh yeah,
To
I
see if that
forgot
can-
completely about that. Thank you, Chris, for pulling that up. That's awesome. Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Chris.
All right.
I hope that helps.
Awesome. Are we ready for the next one? And of course, if you are viewing live and you're in the chat, and you've got, these huge stalwarts like Jeff Janakovo and Stu Segura and Joe Clay and Marty Kirby, all these folks, jump in. Your questions will take precedent over Losing Hope in Indiana and some of these other folks that have emailed questions in. If you're hearing this on a replay, you can email Pete Primeau at ameritech.net, and we'll get your question on the next Ask Pete. And Jeff says $7 for 7 days of access.
Wow.
And our next live virtual event is tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. And for those of you that are listening, it's Tuesday, the 18th of June, and that's at 2 p.m. East Coast time. That is the Mattress Retailer Toolkit. $7 for 7 days of access. That's pretty rocking.
That. Yeah.
Cannot beat it.
Nope.
All right, here we go. Next question. This is Road Rep in Oklahoma. And Road Rep says, I owned a store and just got into repping. I'm not having much luck. I'm getting frustrated with store owners who either won't talk to me or don't buy after I show them a better deal or a better product. This really isn't going the way I thought it would. I'm quickly losing patience. Any advice, Pete, would be appreciated. Road Rep in Oklahoma.
Oh boy. Yeah, I got a lot of advice. You got a few hours? All right, so let me just please leave that up there. Blake Austin says, great answers, Pete, Jeff, and Stu. Thank you, Blake. Thank you.
So brand new rep in Oklahoma, not having much luck. Has anyone ever had like much luck right out of the gate, Pete? I mean, anyone?
I'm gonna go a little bit backwards on you, road rep in Oklahoma. So I am going to tell you what I tell a lot of people about repping. You see me come into your store, I'm all smiles, I'm dressed nice, I smell good, and you think it's easy. And it's not easy. It's not easy to be away from your family, being in hotel rooms night after night. It's not easy being told no, no after no after no, which you do get, and that's part of it. And you got to make your peace with that. It's not easy if you didn't learn the business in retail. I spent 9 years in retail before I became a rep. And I became a number one retail salesperson at every store that I ever worked at. I became the elite store manager so much at one chain of stores I worked at. I would go in to troubled stores and work and try to save the store. So you have to become really, really good at what you do. And it doesn't happen overnight. So I'm still learning. I'm 43 years into this and I'm still learning. I started in 1982. I like to think I'm getting better, but I don't get frustrated anymore because I understand the process. So maybe you don't understand the process. So here's how it goes. Nobody owes you a damn thing. I almost feel like a sense of entitlement here, and that will kill your career. If you feel entitled, for whatever reason you feel entitled, you are not entitled to any business, period. Your job is to provide value to store owners, to help them be better, to help them have more success. Your products, if they don't help your customer make more sales or make more markup or have less returns, there has to be a tangible business, a reason that is their reason and not your reason. So here's the problem, road rep in Oklahoma. We beat ourselves on the chest. We talk ourselves into this is a great product. It's not a great product. Your product sucks. Most products suck. So you're not that different from your competition. You are the difference. And I am sorry, but you have to understand this. If you can't go into that store and make sales in that store and help him, you have no business asking for any business. So I would encourage you to do this. Understand that there's a process. Understand that you win some and you lose some. Understand this. I need to become a student of this game. I need to listen to my prospective dealers, and I need to stop just blindly believing because my sales manager said we got this doohickey that goes this way and it's better than the other doohickey that goes the other way, and buying into that nonsense. Go back to what I said at the beginning. You've got two ears, you got one mouth, use them in that proportion. And I would say this, if it's somebody new that you've never met before, you better be listening 90% of the time, and you better take notes, and you shouldn't even pitch. Stop pitching. Don't pitch. If someone asks you to pitch, you should just politely say, sir, I don't know enough about your store to even realize if this is the right fit for you. You're not a trained SEAL. You're a professional salesperson. You don't pitch on command. You only pitch if and when there's a fit. I'm going to say that again. You only pitch if and when there is a fit between your two companies. I'm going to take a breath of fresh air here. And Stu Segura says, provide value first, ask later. They can probably smell the new car scent on your rep badge. Be patient.
Breath.
A lot of owners are having cash flow issues. Thank you, Stu, for bringing that up. So road rep in Oklahoma, I would add this. One time I got really frustrated. It was a top 100. And I said, I did all my homework. I knew exactly where they were. I outspec'd them. I outpriced them. I gave them more markup. I beat this competitor who was a tough competitor in every area, beat them in delivery, beat them in markup, beat them in the specs, beat everything. And the buyer, and after I got super frustrated, I said, exasperated, what could I have done differently? And the buyer said, Pete, you didn't do anything wrong. Everything you did was really, really good. But here's something that you need to understand. From my perspective, for me to switch, I'm not going to switch to make 1 or 2% more. I'm going to switch if it's 5 or 10% more profit, but I'm not switching for 1 to 2% improvement. So road rep, this is so important that you need to understand this. You need to make your offer frictionless. That is, remove the barriers. Make it such an attractive offer that there is no friction. So most stores now are computerized. There is time and effort to switch over to a vendor. You cannot be equal or a little bit better. you have to be much better. And sometimes it involves you holding their hand. Other times, um, it involves the cost of the switch out. So if somebody has got 50 adjustable beds on their floor and they have to switch them out to another brand to save $5 or $10 on an unknown, and they have good service and great delivery now, you're not going to get the business, my friend. You're just not. So you can't be good. You have to be great. It has to be frictionless. And my friend, wants to talk. I can tell. What do you want to add to that, Chris? I see you chomping at the bit there.
Oh no, I'm not chomping. I just one other. I think this is really is a great comment here from Blake Austin, a friend of the show, was a guest. And if anyone is curious about how to utilize AI in what they're doing, check out I think it was 3 episodes ago. Blake Austin was a guest here on the Pete Primeau show, and Blake says, having been a successful fintech rep, here is my 2 cents. Don't focus on selling, focus on connecting. Focus on connecting. Don't focus on selling. You can't sell them right away, but you can connect with them right away. And I think that is really, really good perspective, because, Road Rep in Oklahoma says, this is a better deal. I've shown him a better deal, and I've shown him a better product. What's the problem?
Yep.
Well, it might not be that person may not be ready for that today. But if you connect with them, they may be ready for something else or whatever that is at a later date. And so don't pass up the opportunity to connect, because you've got commission breath, and they could smell whatever Stu says, smell the new car scent on your rep badge or whatever he said.
That was really good. And Blake, that was excellent. And know where you are. You need to do a certain amount of intel before you go see a buyer. So you need to visit the stores. You need to visit the websites before you go to the stores. You need to look at their social media. You need to basically understand everything you can understand before you walk into the store. So you really have work to do. You need to know where you are and where you stand and where you sit. And that is just, what if the line that you're trying to replace is a family member? They're best friends. I've got a situation with a top 100 where his rep is his neighbor. They're neighbors. They're like, they love each other so much. The one moved right next to the other one.
Oh, geez.
What are my chances of getting in there? What I have to do is, in terms of getting mattress SKUs in there, it's not happening unless, God forbid, something happens to that rep. But I can be there with my other lines. And so this is what I'm going to say to your road rep: diversify your lines. You don't know which line they need the most. And if you have multiple lines, it will help you to be able to get into a situation where you can learn more about the business. So learn everything you can about the business. And I'm going to say this to you, and this sounds really weird to you, but make alliances with other reps. They're not your enemy. They can be your friends. You guys can both eat. If you view the world as, I am going to be insulating myself, I'm going to go and I'm just going to go do everything, and I'm never going to share any ideas or any intel with anybody, you are going to be on an island by yourself, my friend.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many accounts I didn't open because I found out they had really crappy credit. And a few times when I went against what my community told me, I ended up in trouble. And so get involved in rep organizations and learn as much as you can learn. Be a student of the game. I know I said that before. I'm saying it again. it would really be helpful if you were a successful store owner. If you had like a little dirty window store that was not perceived to be successful, and now you're selling high end goods, that is a really tough situation you're in. Really tough. It's hard to have credibility that way. So if you were in a successful medium end store and you're selling medium end goods, that's consistent. That's been who you've been, what you're about, and your ability to help. You said you own your own store. I'm assuming you can sell. Offering to work weekends, offering to work on holidays. On Black Friday, I worked at Happy Z's, and I worked there on Saturday as well. And it was one of the best things I've ever done. I've done that before. I worked on July 4th at Jeff Janakovo's place. So offer to do more than the other reps, and you'll probably have a little bit more success. Listen more, and just try to be a little bit of more patient. It's not easy. It just looks easy. That's the problem with repping. Everybody thinks it's super easy. I almost starved to death when I first became an independent rep, and I was a highly successful rep. Before that, I was a sales manager at Serta, and I was a sales manager. I was the VP of sales at White Dove, and I was a key account rep for Spring Air before I ever became an independent rep. And it was still tough for me. And 9 years of retail, and it was still tough. So it's not easy. It will get easier, but you're going to have to plow a lot more into it. So that's the bad news. You got anything else?
Speaking of consistency, Stu says quality customer service and consistency are greater than lower price. It is work to change brands.
Yes.
Just sort of underlining that conversation.
Thank you, Stu.
I know we're running late. We do have another question here. This is from Depressed in Alabama. Pete, you always seem so upbeat and positive. I'm not these days. How can I get back to being my old positive self?
All right, lightning round. So I am not always upbeat, and I am not always positive. I work at it every day. So some people get mad when I say this, and I don't care. Stop watching the news. Stop watching the TV in general. Read more books. Listen to music that you really dig, that you really like. Change, be aware. So here's the first piece. You're aware that you're not where you want to be, and you were there before. You were in a good spot before. So, listen to music. If you're getting a little older like me, listening to some of your high school music can really give you a lift. Exercise every day. And it doesn't have to be lifting weights and CrossFit and stuff like I do. Just a half an hour walk will change your life. If you do that 5 times a week, a half an hour walk, you will benefit from it mentally and emotionally and physically, for that matter. So the other thing is pull the weeds from your garden. And the weeds are the negative Nellies in your life, and sometimes you can't get rid of them. Sometimes they're family members, right? Sometimes it's a mother or a father. I mean, I was blessed with super positive people that way. Could be your wife. And if everything else is good, you can't get rid of her over that. Could be your husband. And so minimize anything that is not part of you being successful. And, you can't sit there and look in the mirror and say, I am told that if I smile, I'll be positive. So I'm smiling. It's not working. I'm not happy. Listen, the best thing in the world is to tell yourself, I'm not happy. What do I need to do to change it? What music can I listen to? What book can I read? What good, nutritious food can I eat? What exercise can I do? Who are the winners in my life? Who makes me feel good about myself? Surround yourself with winners. And Blake Austin adds, drink a lot of caffeine and drive around with your favorite music blaring. And that's a wrap, guys. Chris, you got anything to add to that? Chris, you're muted, brother.
Sorry. I have 3 rules that I live by every day, and it came up here twice. And things you get down sometimes, and that this sometimes helps. Number 1 is I make my wife laugh, and I do that because you see this face. She married me for my sense of humor, so I got to keep her laughing. Number 2 is that I create more than I consume. Watching these shows, listening to podcasts, reading books, that's all fantastic, but you've got to do more than you take in. And the third, believe it or not, is listen to music. And that is because that's always been in my DNA. It is it forces my creativity, gets me inspired, and it doesn't matter what kind of music you love. It doesn't matter if it's classical or if it's black metal or if it's country or if it's worship or if it's whatever. It's whatever is going to help fuel and fire those neurons in your brain and get you back off the ledge and back behind the wheel, or back, picking up a pen or a tablet or whatever it's going to take to move on. So that's that's always been my thing. And if I can do those 3 things every day, I feel like I can check the box and be a little, a plus as opposed to a minus by the time I lay down at night.
That is awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marnie. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Stu. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, all you guys, for being here. And that's a wrap, guys. Go forth and sell 1 million.